Welcome back. Welcome back. So tonight is our last night of PowerPoint, and that will wrap up our Office 365 class. So after tonight, what I will do is I will send you a link, and there's a short quiz to fill out. And then if you just fill it out, it's online. It's open computer, so it's not hard. And if you could fill that out and send that back, then I will send you the certificate of completion. Then in 2 weeks, we're going to start the QuickBooks class. So if you're interested in that, you should get an email, just let you know about the classes starting. And we'll start off at the beginning. That's 3 weeks, same time every day for Monday through Thursday, 2 hours starting at 6 p.m. And that's only 3 weeks long. Then if you want to do the advanced QuickBooks, we do the advanced QuickBooks after that. So again, we'll send you an announcement. And if you know anybody who's interested, we love to get them in the classes. We like to have as many people as we can while they're offering these classes. And again, there's no charge. Just like Microsoft Office, if you sign up for the QuickBooks class, you get a free copy of the online QuickBooks. And I think I mentioned Microsoft Office 365 is good for at least 3 years. The QuickBooks one is longer than that. So you're all good. So we explain basically how to set up a business. You can also use it for personal finances, but we start from scratch. So there's no experience required. And everybody seems to have a lot of fun with it. All right. So speaking of fun, since tonight is our last class, we are going to do something just a little bit more lighthearted for our PowerPoint. So if you haven't already, please launch your Microsoft Office. And we're going to create a new presentation, start it from scratch. So the other thing you can do with PowerPoint, in addition to formal presentations like we've been doing, is you can also use it for storytelling. Because it has slides that animate in sequence, you can use each slide as part of a story and tell the story. And I think I mentioned when we started that some places will use this for like weddings. They'll do a projector on the big screen and show pictures of the participants of the wedding. And usually when they're young and as they grow up. Same with graduations. You'll see baby pictures and they'll do that. And you can also use this as just a slideshow of general information. I don't know if they still do it, but the public access channel run by the local cable company uses PowerPoint. And whenever you see the city announcements, they're just slides they set up in PowerPoint and they just run it, and it's called a loop. You can set it to loop and it just runs over and over again. If you do that, by the way, you do need to use the desktop version because the 365 version doesn't have the loop option. Sometimes too, at the mall, you'll see there's a kiosk that you can use to find different things, and there's a lot of advertising on it. But a lot of times that's just a PowerPoint presentation, continuously running the slides. So for our story today, we're going to create a blank presentation. And I'm coming here to the name. I'm going to change this to PowerPoint 06. We're going to call this the farm story. All right, so to get started, we're not going to use text. So I have here the click to add title placeholder. I'm going to click on the border and delete it. And I want to click on the subtitle and delete that. The other way I could have done this, by the way, is change the layout to blank, or even entered a new blank slide and delete the first one. So either way works. All right, so what we want to do is we want to set up a scene that builds a layer at a time. And we're going to use each slide as a separate cell. So if you ever watch like Beauty and the Beast or any kind of animation, what they do is they color each cell and they have the individuals and the action move just a little bit on each cell. And when they run them together, it makes a movie. That's essentially what we're going to be doing. So the first thing we want to do is show a clear blue sky. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I want to go into Shapes, and I need a rectangle. So it comes in as a square. I want to move it to the upper left-hand corner, and then drag it out all the way to the right. And I want to take up the whole slide, so I'm going to drag it all the way down. I'm going to go to my shape fill. It's a little dark, and a little lighter sky here. So I'm going to use blue accent 1, lighter 40%. Okay. So then down below, I want to put in some land. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy slide 1 and duplicate it below. So I'm going to right click on it. I get my short menu, and I'm going to use duplicate slide. So I have 2 slides exactly the same. On slide 2, I want to start putting in my grass. For grass, I want to make hills. So again, I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to use Shapes. Now, I could use clip art too. There's lots of clip art that'll do this, but I just want to say I drew it from scratch. So I'm going to put an oval. This one, I'm going to turn the shape fill into green. And then for the shape outline, I'm going to use a lighter green. So I'll kind of give it an edge. And then I'm going to stretch it. Now you'll see my green oval is overlapping my blue background. So I'm going to take up about 1/3 of the screen here. Now I want it to look like it's filled up the entire bottom of the screen. So I'm going to push it so a portion of it is off the slide. So you'll see up here, I have lost a portion of it. Remember the rule, anything that's not in the slide is not going to show when you run the slideshow. Well, that's in this case, that's what I want. I don't want these parts of the oval. I want a rounded shape like this. Stretch it out a little bit more. All right. Now I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it. So I'll get another copy. This is going to be on the right side. I'm going to do the same thing. Like that. All right, when I paste it one more time, this will give me a 3rd one. I'm going to put this towards the middle, but I want to stretch it out long ways first. This can be a little steeper hill. I'm going to move it till it's just about halfway off. And then I want to change the shape fill. So use the dark green. I want to make it a little bit lighter here. Just a different shade of green a bit. All right, on the left side, you get a preview of what it's going to look like. And you can see, we don't get to see the layers that are off the slide edge. So that's good. All right, so for our next step, I want to copy this slide again. So we made a change, and we're going to copy and duplicate slide. Okay, I haven't put any transitions yet, but if you want to see the effect, I'm going to quickly just run the show. Oops, let's see. I've got subtitles turned on, so it interrupted me because I had to give it permission to access my microphone. So let me try it again. There's a blue screen. There's my green grass. And we're good. So that's the way it's going to work. So now we're going to add a sun. So I'm going to go to my insert ribbon again, go back to shapes, and there is a built-in sun. And it looks like this. All right, so I'm going to change this one to a yellow fill. And then for my outline, I'm going to use an orange. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And he'll be in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, so that gives us the sun. Now we need to make the sun happy. So I want to insert again. And this time I'm going to use icons because I happen to know of an icon with a smiling face. Here it comes. So I'm going to search for happy under icons. And these are basically simple black and white pictures. And they're all transparent. So I'm going to click on the happy face with the sunglasses because you have to have sunglasses, of course, but you can use any of them. And I'll move it on top. So it's going to be layered over my sun. I'm going to enlarge it so it takes up most of the middle of the space. And I'll leave a little offset so it's looking down on the action down below. All right. Okay, so it's time to duplicate slide 3. So I introduce my sun. Now let's insert a cloud. So this time I'm going to go to Pictures, Bing Pictures. Everything's moving a little slowly, but here it comes. The word cloud. And then on the filter, there are lots of clouds. I want it to be clip art. So I have one over here. It's got a little shading in it. That's kind of nice. I'm going to click on it and insert. Oops. Okay, I don't know if you saw that. I got an error. There, remember when I said you go to Pictures and Bing Pictures, it's kind of like a hodgepodge. You never know what you're going to get. And there are images that can't load correctly. And it could be that they don't exist anymore on the site where it used to be. So this one right here, that's a no-no. It's not going to work. So I have to pick another one. Try the one below it. Let's try this one. Okay, there we go. So this one's public domain. I'll move this cloud over by the sun. I'll make it a little bigger. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. I'll get another cloud. over here. And this one, I'm going to resize it a bit, and then I'm going to turn it a little bit of an angle, just to make it look a bit different. And I'm going to paste it one more time to get a third one. I don't know if you remember drawing class, you're always supposed to do things at least in threes to make them interesting. This one, to make it more interesting, I'm going to flip it. So I'm going to grab the left border, bring it to the right, and bring it over. It's not a big change, but it just looks a little bit different. And then I'm going to move it and shrink it and place a little bit higher. There we go. And you can put it anywhere you like. So I'm also going to do this close like that. All right, so that introduces our clouds. And then again, you can adjust them any way you like. You can put more clouds in. You can angle them. In this version of PowerPoint, we don't have as many editing tools, but in the desktop version, you can actually edit these and change their tone, their color, their shade, lots of different options. So you can have just the perfect clouds. I'm going to copy this slide again and duplicate it. So you'll see we're building with layers. Slide 5 has a lot more on it than slide 1, right? But slide 5 has everything that slide 4 had, and slide 4 has everything that slide 3 had. So as we run this presentation, it will look like it's building up. Next thing we need is a barn. So I'm going to go to Insert, Picture, Bing Pictures, and I want to look for clip art of a barn. So see, there are lots of different barns. I'm going to change it to clip art. And you can choose any one. But I'm going to choose the first one. I'm going to delete the alternate text here. And then what I want to do is I only want to show half the barn over on the left side. So I'm going to enlarge it. This is going to be an important part of my story. So I have two options. One is I could push it off so only half is on the slide, or since we have the tools, I'm going to use crop. When you click on crop, you can cut portions of an image off, and that's what I'm going to do. It's not actually cutting, it's hiding it. So you'll see this black bar on the left side. I'm going to drag it over right to the halfway point. You'll see now my barn is just half a barn. Now you might ask, why didn't you do that with the grass and the circles? I could have. Well, actually, I could have if I imported them as a picture, but because they're drawing objects, you really can't. Now, you could also go through the different shapes and see about finding a shape that works better, and maybe half moons. But I kind of wanted to emphasize how the portions that don't appear on the slide can still exist, but they don't appear in the show. All right, so there's my barn, almost to the top. Now, because I pasted the barn last, you'll see it overlaps my cloud and my grass below, and of course, the blue background. So if you remember, we can move this backwards if I wanted to put it behind the clouds, although that wouldn't make much sense. The way the computer organizes them, it's the most recently added item is the highest level. It's in the front. So that's why we're kind of building this up from the back to the front. I don't know if you ever watch Bob Ross on not public access, it's PBS. And he does the painting. He always starts painting from the backwards forward. Well, we're doing the same kind of thing. It just makes it easier. All right. So I'm going to duplicate this slide. And now I'm ready for one of my main characters. I'm going to insert a chicken. I'm going to insert pictures, Bing pictures. And again, I want this to be clip art. Here's a drawing of a chicken. And insert. All right, so I got a problem. This one won't work because this one has a white background. And I don't want it to have a white background. It'll overlap anything that's around. So I'm gonna have to find another one. Now I'll mention here that, again, on the desktop version, you can select this, and then on every image, you have an option, and you can turn one color in the image transparent. So what I would do normally with this picture is, since the background's probably all solid white, I could use the color and then go back and tell it, it says select transparent color, click on the white background, and then it would make it transparent. But I'm gonna have to change picture. So I can go back to insert, or you'll see here, there's an option we have on our toolbar to change the picture. So if I use my drop-down list, it's going to be from Bing Pictures. So it's the same, get you to the same spot, but you have to have an image selected before you can change the picture on it. So this time, I'm going to type in the words cartoon chicken. Here's the one I selected. And as I scroll down, there's some crazy chickens. I'm going to make sure it's transparent. And let's see what we got. Well, let's see, I saw one up here. This white, well, it's white chicken. Let's see how this looks. All right, that'll do. So I want to shrink it down because it looks like a monster chicken next to the barn here. And then I want to flip it. So when it comes in, whoops, we'll be looking to the right. So there's our chicken. I'm going to duplicate slide 6. And I'm going to move the chicken to the top of the roof. Right up here. I want her to all be in the slide. I'm going to flip her backwards. Go back to where we started. And then I'm going to rotate her just a bit. So I'm going to pull her down. And that way her feet will line up on the roof of the barn. Okay. Actually, I need another copy of slide 6. I'm going to duplicate slide 6 again. Because what we're going to do when we do the animation, slide 6, she's going to fly in from the left. Slide 7, she's going to fly out to the right. And slide 8, she's going to fly in onto our roof or a barn. Now, one of the reasons I haven't done the animations yet, I want to do them at the end, is I only want each item to be animated once. So for example, when we introduce the sun, I want it to be introduced, but then I want it to stay there and not have any more animations. If I animate it in slide 3 and then copy it and duplicate it into slide 4, when I see slide 4, it'll redo the animation on the sun. So you'll see how that works at the end here. But that's one of the reasons we're not doing the animations yet. I'm going to duplicate slide 8. We're ready for a couple more characters. So I want to introduce a cartoon cow. So go back to Bing Pictures. Say cartoon cow. And make it transparent. Here's one. Okay, here's my cow. It can't stay in the middle. It can't be flying. I want to move it to the left so it looks like he's coming out of the barn, or she's coming out of the barn here. Now we'll go to slide 9 and duplicate slide 9. And I want to introduce another cow. Now you could go back and pull up another one from clip art. I am just going to select the same cow, copy it, and paste it. Move it to the right. I'm going to flip the cow around so they're facing each other. And then I want this one to look like it's a little closer to us. So I'm going to make it larger. So again, that's, you remember the drawing classes, that's perspective. And I'll set a little bit lower. All right, about here. All right. So let's take a look at how it plays by running the show. So we start out with blue sky, there's our grass, sun, clouds, barn, chicken, chicken, cow, cat. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to duplicate slide 10. And now we want to have them talk. So as part of our animation, we're going to go to Insert, Shapes, and then you have these call out options at the bottom. So you'll see there's rectangular call out, there's a round oval call out, there's a thought balloon, that's cloud call out is what they call it, and then they have these squares. If you're doing, like we were working on our organizational charts, and you wanted to add something kind of branching off, but not part of the regular organization, you can use these line callouts. And what I'll do is put a box with a line, and you can determine where the line goes. So for our first call out, we're going to use a rectangular call out. I'm going to move this over to my first cow. All right, for the fill, I want it to be white. I want to make it larger. And the way these work is I'm going to put it over my cow's head here. All right. So I want this cow to ask a question. In the desktop version, when you're using these callouts, you can actually double click and type your text right in them. However, 365 is a little bit more limited. So we actually have to do this in 2 steps. We've got the callout. I need to go to insert. And now I'm going to insert a text box. Basically, a text box is just an area where I can type my text. And we've been using those. All of our placeholders are essentially text boxes. So like when it said click to add main title, that's just a text box and can be duplicated like this. So I want to put this over my speech balloon here, the call out. I'm going to replace the text. The text is going to read, what do you call it when a chicken lays an egg on a barn roof? All right, so it doesn't quite fit. So one thing I'm going to do is change my call out and move it over a bit. I'm just going to adjust things. I'm going to select the text and go to home. And now I'm going to select a font, and there should be one. It kind of looks like a hand printing. It's called Bradley Hand. I think we've used it before. Looks a little small, and enlarge it. Too big. So 20 fits. Make it bold. And I'm going to shrink my call out and resize it so it all fits. So everything's included. All right. I'm going to duplicate slide 11. I want to have the other cow respond. So to do so, I want to insert, shapes, another call out. Now, normally you'd probably just use the same call out just to keep it consistent, but I want to use the oval one, first of all, because all the cow's going to say is, I don't know. So it can be easily fit into an oval shape like this. I'm going to change the fill, but I just want to use the different callouts because we can. All right, so you'll notice the little tail of the callout's pointing the wrong way. Well, we know how to fix that. Just flip it horizontally. So I need another text box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to steal this one. I'm going to copy the one I've already got because it has the right formatting, the right size, and the right coloring. So I'm going to click on the border by grabbing any one of these fill handles and Control C, click in the background, and then paste. Oops, I had cut. Okay, paste it exactly over what I had before so it doesn't look like it did anything until I move it. Select this text, And this cow is going to say, I don't know. I'll center the text. And let's duplicate slide 12. I'm ready for another call out. So it's going to be for the first cow. So I'm going to use the same one over again. I could go and insert it, or just like I said before, we'll copy this one, paste it, move it down. I'm going to turn it. Oops, I hit the barn. Good thing we have undo. There it goes. Okay, so I'm going to grab the text, copy. I'm actually going to go to the I don't know, because it's going to be a small, short answer. I'm going to paste it, move it over, and then I have to rotate it to match my call out so they overlap. Okay, I'm going to replace the text with the answer. Does anybody know the answer? What do you call it when a chicken lays an egg on a barn roof? It's an egg roll. Okay, I didn't say it was a funny story. So this is the answer. I'm going to make this a little bit larger to stand out more. Okay, so there's the answer. I'm going to duplicate that slide as well. We're going to add a little bit more. So we want to see the egg roll. So I want to insert an egg. So I'm going to go up to Insert, Pictures, Bing Pictures, and chicken egg. I want to make sure it's transparent and a clip art. Okay, I have an egg here. Let's see if it's transparent enough. Nope. It's okay. I'm going to go to my insert ribbon and the picture, change picture. This time we'll just say cartoon, chicken egg. And select transparent over here. There we go. Okay, obviously that is way too big. I'm going to rotate it. And not too small, because I won't be able to see it. And then the egg gets a call out too. So I'm going to select the round call out above the second cow, copy, paste. Make it smaller. I need to flip it. So now that the call out tail is closer to my egg. And then the egg is going to comment, that's inexcusable. So again, it doesn't quite fit here. And it's okay if it overlaps a little bit. And then the other thing we can do is I can group these two together. Remember grouping? So I selected them both, right click on one, and then select group. Now, when I rotate them, they rotate together. All right, I'm going to duplicate that. And we have slide 15. One more call out. So I'm going to select that's inexcusable because it's going to be a short one like that. And the chicken's going to get a say. So I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to rotate it. And she's going to say, I don't get the yolk. These are what you call on the internet dad jokes. They're really bad puns, but it tells the story. All right, so with that, you'll notice because the text is a little different, they don't exactly fit as well. So I'm going to ungroup by right-clicking on either one of this, either the speech balloon or the text, go to group, and then you'll see ungroup. That releases them from the grouping. And it made it disappear. It wasn't supposed to do that. Try it again. Oh, now it did it. My computer's running slow. So I'm going to delete that one. Okay, so now I can move the text box and float it over and center it better. Just like that. All right. So now we have our layout done. It's 15 slides. It's 6:55, it's break time. When we come back, we'll finish up our little animation and tell our story. So we'll be back at 7:05. All right, we are back. So let's take a run through and see how it's looking. I'm going to run the slideshow from the beginning. There's our sun, there's our clouds. You'll notice when the clouds come in, it doesn't look like the sun moves. And when the barn comes in, it doesn't look like the clouds move. They kind of are. They're being redrawn. It just happens so fast we can't see it. So there's our chicken. And the cows. Here we go. There's one more slide we want to put at the end. So we're going to insert, I'll go to home and do a new slide. This is going to be a blank slide. And for this one, we're going to insert a shape, again, a rectangle or square, and it's going to take up the entire screen. This one is going to be black, so it's going to fade to black. So I'm going to go to the shape menu. Shape fill is going to be black. Then I want to insert a text box. And it doesn't look like there's any text in it, but when I select all, I can see click to add text. That's because it's black writing on a black background, so it's invisible. So I'm going to change it to white writing. I'm going to type the end. So I want this to be very large. I'm going to increase the size of my textbook. Or the text box here. Here we go. And let's find a different font. So I've got brush script. Change the font size manually here. Yeah. So 96 is as large as we're gonna be able to do it. In the desktop version, you can go a lot larger, but we'll leave it like that. All right, so now it's time to add some animations. I'm gonna go to slide one. Slide one is just the plain blue background, but we can animate. So I'm gonna click on the blue background and it'll be a fade. Okay, we go to slide two. I want my grass to act as one, so people can't tell that I drew it with 3 circles. So I'm going to select on them, on the first one, on the left, the middle, and the right. Right-click on one and group. The reason is this will make them all come in as one, and I can animate as one. This one, I'm going to have it fly in from the bottom. All right, slide 3. I also want to group our happy face and the sun, so they'll be together. So I'm going to right-click on either one, group. Now you could do these separately, but I just want to practice the grouping. And this one will have it fade. Now you'll see I'm not reanimating the grass because it's already there, and we're just doing these as they appear. All right, I am going to do my clouds as 3 different animations. I'm going to start with the one on the far right. I'm going to have it fly in from the left, top left. Well, just plain left. If I do top left, it'll come down and left. I'm going to do the same thing, fly in with the middle one. And then again, the third one, fly in. Make sure it's from left. So it looks like the wind blew them in one at a time. Slide 5 is the barn. So I'm going to click on the barn. I'm going to have this one fade. So it'll fade in over the grass and the cloud. Slide 6, here comes our chicken. So the chicken's going to walk in. I can't really animate the feet, but I can have it come in from the left. So I'm going to use fly in and then from the left. Okay. So on slide 7, which is a duplicate of slide 6, the reason I want to do this is I want her to fly out and then come back on top of the barn. So I'm going to click on the chicken, go to animations. This time I want to do an exit animation. So she's going to fly out. And this one, I want her to fly out to the top right. I'm going to go to slide 8. And she lands on the roof. So to do this one, I'm going to click on my chicken. Now she's going to fly in. I want her to fly in from the top right. So that's the way she went out. That's how she's going to come in. Let's take a look at that. So that's why we had to duplicate the chicken that extra time, because you can't have one item have 2 animations, a fly in and a fly out. So let's take a look real quick at how that's going to work. So I'm going to just run it from the current slide. So here comes the barn. And there's our chicken. There she goes. Here she comes. See how that worked? So you basically have to do 2 maneuvers, so you need 2 slides to do it. One to have her come in, and then when I go on to slide 7, because her position is exactly where we left her at slide 6, that's how she's going to appear. So then the exit animation takes her off the screen, and then the next slide brings her back onto the roof. All right, so here comes our cow. I'm going to go to my animations. And the cow is going to walk in from the left. So I'm going to fly in, just playing from the left. So off screen, it's going to walk in. For the second cow on slide 10, it's also going to fly in, but it's going to come from the right. Okay, now we're ready to have them start talking. So to start with, as you recall, my first speech balloon here is made up of 2 elements. I did not group them together. So I'm going to click on the call out first, and I want this to fade in. And then when that's done, I'm going to animate the text and have it show up. So that way it will have the speech balloon first and then the writing appear next. There we go. So you'll see there's a 1 and a 2. And let's see how that's going to work. So I'm going to run it from the current slide. So there's our cows. I click, there's the speech balloon, and there's the text. So that way they come in independently. Now I could have grouped them and have them come in at the same time. That'd have been fine. And we're going to do that later. But as long as they're layered, that text will always appear above the speech balloon. So now we have the same situation over here for the second cow. So I'm going to do the same animations. So first, the speech balloon, it's going to fade in. Then the text is going to appear. You could do a fade too, but either way, this will be, keep them separate. Now here you run into a situation where you'll notice my numbers and my order of animation almost makes it look like that 1 goes with the first speech balloon. That's the problem when you start running with too many animations, or I don't know, too many, but multiple animations, is if they overlap a bit, you kind of have to watch those numbers. In the desktop version, they do have an animation pane, which is a little window that pops up and you can see the order and it'll tell you what it is. So we don't have that in 365 yet. So the best way to do that is just kind of click on it. Like when I click on the speech balloon, you'll see how the 1 turns shaded, got a little pink behind it. And then when I click on the text, that confirms what it's referring to. All right, so slide 13. Now this one, this little speech balloon, an egg roll, that's grouped together. If I want to verify it, I can right click on any of those circles. Oh, I'm sorry, no, we didn't group that together. It's the next one that came. So there you go. There's a chance to verify it. See how group is shaded out? That tells me it's not grouped. Well, that's okay. That works. So again, I'm going to use the speech balloon first, the call out. I'll have it do a fade. And then on the text, because it's our big punchline, I think I'll do a zoom. Okay. Now, again, if you run the animation, you don't like it, you can always go back and change any of these animations at any point. So let's see how that's going to look with our speech balloon. So we'll start at slide 11. I'm going to go to slideshow from the current slide. Here's our cows. First cow asks the question. And there's the answer. All right, so on slide 14, we have the egg. So I want to demonstrate what we're talking about by having the chicken lay the egg and have it roll down the barn and end up here. How do we do that? We're going to animate it. It's going to be a fly in, but this time, the top left. So if you watch carefully, it's actually not going to come from the chicken. It's actually going to come from the border, but most people won't be seeing that. I am going to click on my chicken though, and I want to go to my picture, and I want to make sure she's in front. So when the egg shows up, it'll slide in behind her and make it less noticeable. So I'm going to bring the chicken to the front. So I clicked on the chicken, clicked on the picture ribbon, and then you got bring forward, bring backwards, or send backwards. This controls the layering. So if the chicken's in front, whatever shows up behind her has to be behind her, has to be in the back. I could have sent the egg backwards. The problem is I can't send it to the back because you remember we have that blue sky and our green grass. Those are layered too. If I send the egg to the back, they'll be behind both of those and we'll never see it. So much easier just to bring the chicken forward. All right, so time to animate the egg. Oh, I think we did the animation. Let's double check it. Yeah, fly in and top left. And now our speech balloon here, this one is grouped. And I'm going to confirm it by right click. And there, sure enough, see how group is laid out and I can ungroup? That's an indicator. This is a grouped item. So this one, I'm going to have zoom because it really is a bad joke. So you notice my egg is animated as the first item, and then the speech balloon is the second item. All right, so let's go to slide 15. Now our chicken gets in on the act. Again, this is grouped together. Easy to confirm. Oh, it's not grouped, sorry. I thought I copied and pasted it. I guess I copied the other one. So I could either group it now, or we'll just do this one in a two-step process. So I clicked the speech balloon. We'll have this one fade. Click on the text. And this one, because this is our final punchline, we'll make this one grow and shrink for a little emphasis. Slide 16, we have our the end text. So it's our final animation. So we'll do a little emphasis with grow and shrink. And there we have it. All right. So starting with our blue slide, we're going to run the slideshow from the beginning and see how it works. So you'll notice it starts off with a white background. When I click on it, Now it brings in the blue because we did an animation on the blue background. There's our grass. Here comes the sun. Our clouds one at a time. Comes the barn. Good old chicken. Chicken flies away, but comes back. Two cows. And a really bad joke. And here comes the egg. See how it came from the upper left-hand corner? So it's almost like the chicken dropped it off the roof. Uh-oh, I have a mistake. So I don't know if you noticed, my text came in first before my speech balloon. There's the end. All right, so I have a mistake to fix. It was the chicken speech balloon. That's okay. It's a good chance to practice fixing things. So I'm going to click on the text and tell it to move later. So now it switched the timings around. I also didn't really think that grow worked too well. So I'm going to change the animation here. Let's do a peek in instead. Okay, now I want to check it from the slideshow, run it from the current slide so I can just check the changes I made. Oh, did it again. Let's go to animations. So the text should be 2. There we go. Speech balloon should be 1. And I'm just going to make it a fade. All right, one more time. There it goes. I also noticed my black border didn't go all the way to the edge because I saw a white line on the right side. So that's okay. I can just fix it by dragging this across, and that's fixed too. So it's a way to debug your presentation. All right, I think it's done. Maybe run it one more time from the beginning. It's always a good idea to do one quick review. Because I'm clicking as I go to move from each animation, I can make it go faster or slower. If you were doing this on the desktop, again, you can do it with a little bit more control. You can actually set it to automatically run at certain intervals and how many seconds you want the chicken to appear and things like that. So you do have a lot more control over it, but it works well here too. What do you call it when a chicken lays an egg on a barn roof? I don't know. Of course, it's an egg roll. And here comes the egg. Saying that's inexcusable. And our chicken doesn't get the yolk. The end. And there you have it. So we did this as a joke, but you see, it had to be like in a story. And this is actually in the movies. They call this a storyboard, where you basically do a layout of the action with each slide advancing the action something, doing something. And you can see as we go through each slide, something happened different in each slide. Now, in doing all this, I could have shortened it all and just created slide 15 and then done all the animation here on this slide. So you can do that as well. That'd have been fine. You would just create it from a blank slide and do all these elements and then try to place them in the right order and then have them animate. One of the reasons we did it as separate slides is if you want to add something or adjust it, you can take slides out very easily. But also to notice how the layering works, the overlapping, and how things that are in the exact same position in PowerPoint, when it transitions from one slide to the next, look like they don't move at all. So you'll see as we did each slide, whatever element we added in the following slides, it didn't look like it moved. Here's a way to see that, because there was one thing that did move. I don't know if you caught it. I'm going to start at slide 10. Watch what happens to the first cow speech balloon. Okay, so the first cow speaks. Here it comes. All right, so watch the text when I click and advance it. See how it moved over? On the second slide, it's a little off. So, again, that's easy to fix. But that's an illustration of the difference between the two. So I'm just going to move it over just a bit. Oh, it's still going to be off. Part of it is my word wrapping. I'm going to try one more time and do it manually. Nope. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to adjust the first one. I'm going to select it. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go to slide 12, click on that text, delete it, and then paste. When you paste, it's supposed to put it exactly in the same position that you copied it, and then you can move it if you like. And you know what? It's that word wrap again, and it still didn't do it. It's just a hair off. If I flip back and forth between them, well, it's just on the border. That's one of those things that gets kind of silly. It's just one little thing. So I'm going to adjust it one more time and copy and paste it. And I did it again. Okay, this calls for serious measures. Sometimes it does get a little ornery. So here's what I can do. I go next to the word when, or it. And I'm going to hit enter and remove the space. Next to and, I'm going to hit enter. What I just did, it made it 3 lines, but now it's not using the word wrap. So now, if I'm right, that'll fix it. Perfect. So did you see what I did? When that happens, I could tell it was a word wrapping because it kept sending one word to the next line, and it means it's just barely fitting in. So there it is. I forgot. Remember when I said that when you copy something and move it to the other slide, it carries over the animation? Well, this text box did, and I don't want it to. It got its chance to animate on slide 11, and once it's in, it should stay there. When I copied and pasted it, I forgot. It did carry over the animation. So I'm just going to click on the animations and tell it none. All right. Run the slideshow from the current slide. So when that happens, just remember it did carry over the animation. That's why it disappeared. Now it shouldn't do that. Ah, it moved again. Well, you get the idea. So that's one of those things you can fiddle with. Oh, I know why, right? Because here's what happened. Yeah. I fixed it on slide 12, but slide 13 was wrong. So see how it jumps? So this time I can pretty confidently copy this one. And this is the downside of doing the multiple slides, is every slide that follows has to be corrected. Otherwise, it's going to jump again. But because I've got it on my clipboard, I copied. And I can paste, and last one. So that's why you test the slides. So we're in again from the current slide, and it should be fixed. So see how it's not moving? Perfect. All the way to the end. So that's how you can edit the changes and things. And sometimes you just have to kind of give up trying to do it the way the computer wants it done. And so by putting enters in here, it made them separate lines, and that overwrites the word wrap. So if you remember, even Microsoft Word, whenever we hit enter, that immediately creates a new line, and that means no word wrap. All right. So with that corny joke, we have done a storyboard animation. And you're all set. Start making your own cartoons or your own stories. We used cartoon art. You can also do things like this with elements that are photorealistic. So you saw that we had a real rooster, real looking rooster we could have used. And they don't have to talk. They could just interact. They could be silent. You could have them do whatever you want. We did have a student in our longer program who did children's stories, and she used to use PowerPoint to do children's stories. When you're done with this, if you want, as I mentioned before, you can convert these into little, they're called MP4 movies. And those MP4 movies can be uploaded to YouTube. You can post them on your website, put them into Facebook, all kinds of things. And I'm sure you've seen the little animations they have of different things. You can make your own using PowerPoint. Any questions on how we did our overlapping and our layering and our slides as they advanced? All right, well then, that wraps up our class. So thank you for attending, and I hope you have a good night, and I hope you got something out of the class. And we do appreciate your reviews and those evaluations. That's very helpful. and I will send another one out tomorrow so you can do that. And then I'll let you know about the other classes that are coming up. And they've been talking about adding some new computer classes. So we'll see how those go. Either way, both styles will be used. In other words, you can come to the classroom or you can do it online, depending on what is easier for you. And they will be at the same time. So thanks for a great class and have a good evening.